I do not own the rights to this music. All right, all right, all right. Ooh, life with Miss Jewell. Life with me. This is episode 3, part 2. We're gonna finish up where we left off. L.
Thank you. So as you all know, we've been doing um these episodes, these podcasts, these seasons, really kind of based on what has come up. And for us in this season 3, what has come up is a sort of a real talk, a real look at recovery itself and its relationship to spirituality. We talked in our season 1 about tarot, and we want to bring that back, but we want to dive a bit deeper into that in relationship to the energies of the archetypes and its relationships, very specifically the recovery process. In our last episode, we talked about recovery being connected to spirituality. And that's something that we want to dive a little bit more into in this episode. We are officially on step 1, which is honesty, right?
Yes.
And so, without further ado, um, we'll allow Ms. Jewel to get us started. And I have some points that I want to make, but I want us to, just see where we are in our step 1. Where are we in our journey? And, basically, how does that relate to, some of the things that we've talked about and some things that we haven't talked about, right?
Right. And so within step 1 from the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous, verbatim, it says, we admitted that we were powerless over our addiction and that our lives had become unmanageable. And we could change powerless over our unmanageability in anything, like I said, a death, relationships, overeating, you know, attention seeking. We all have something that we have to recover from or be honest about in our lives. And that's what it comes down to. And you can't lie to yourself or continue to deceive yourself if you're perpetuating a narrative that's not conducive to the livability of all the humanness around you, and especially yourself. That's being your worst enemy, right? And for me, I had to be brutally honest because I've damaged relationships. So I had to reflect and be like, hey, that's not cool. How can you mend that? How can you change that? How can you do better? So getting clean for me was stepping out of everything, moving out of the state that I was in and changing the way I live by not lying to myself and getting real. And that's what it takes, is getting real, because the spirit is going to talk to you. Yourself is going to, if you're just doing the most, it's going to come a time where you're like, okay, this is too much. Or you're going to go to jail, like they say, jails, institutions, and death. I'm so fortunate that I've never been to jail and I haven't died. I'm in Gambia. I'm
Mm.
in Gambia. And when I reflect about that, brutally honest, I should have been dead like 5, 6 times. I'm talking about dead where the gun didn't, it done jammed. I'm talking about somebody giving me bad dope and my throat burned up and I can't speak. Getting thrown down the steps, punched in the face. Like I should have been dead. Or smoking an ounce of dope in one night, waiting for my heart to pop. Like I know it's gonna pop. I should have been dead. And when I think about it, it's like, oh, I'm so grateful to be alive.
Mm.
So it takes gratitude on a whole nother level where it's like I can't even form the words, you know? It's like listen to the words coming out of my mouth. I am a miracle walking.
Mm.
And now in my life, miracles happen every day because the breath of life is a miracle. And that's
Mm.
what we take advantage of. That's what we take advantage of in disrespect. You know, in the Zen tradition, we say, I vow not to steal, life, not to kill, not to take drugs and alcohol, but have a clear mind. These are vows or commitments that will keep us alive, that will keep us. And I get goosebumps and my heart swells up in the energy space to welcome in that vital chi, that energy force that keeps me living. Because had it not been for spirituality and my connectedness with spirit, I would have been dead. I was highly protected.
Mm.
I mean, I am highly protected, and I know that now, and I can share that with other people that's still going through it, the ones that are still suffering. I light candles and I send metta
Mm.
because I know they're suffering. I have people in my family that are still suffering. And this is encouraged to them to know one of them, my cousin who I used to do drugs with, buy and do stuff with, running games on people. She knows that I'm in Africa and she looks at my videos on YouTube and be like, cousin, I'm so proud of you. We used to be so close. And what's scary about that relationship, Elle, is that we got baptized as Jehovah's Witnesses on the same day.
Mm.
On the same day. So we had cleaned up our lives, gave our life over to God, to Jehovah, and then start running amok. Like I got this fellowship for having sex, right? And it just was a catapult of, okay, this happened, I didn't get my taxes, I was disappointed on some money, and then Mr. came by and it was a wrap, right? I ain't had no sex since whatever. And so that's how I got caught up. And she went back to using, and that's not like I'm busting her out or calling her out. It's not about that. It's about how you can get connected and think that you got it, and that you walking with the Lord, as they say in the church. I walk with the Lord, and then you can still get caught up.
Mm.
You think you got your shit together, but you can still get caught up, and that's why I appreciate AA, because it's like you just a drug away every day. My poem that I put out, no, my reality
Mm.
that I put on this YouTube was I left with $1 to go get a bottle of barbecue sauce. $1. And I was gone for 3 days. It can happen to anybody. It happens to a lot of us. But getting brutally honest and wanting to change,
Mm.
that's the power in behind it. That's the power that I have. That's like, look, I've been there. I know what it feels like to have a monkey on the back. I know what it feels like to get a gun pulled on you. I know what it feels like to be in car accidents or trying to run or to, hide the sack. I know what it feels like to lose relationships that you love and you cherish, whether you on dope or off of dope, because you could still lose a relationship. You don't have to be on dope to lose a relationship, just a breakup. I lost my husband to cancer. You talking about lose your mind? Like this was my everything. I finally got what I wanted. A nigga that didn't beat my ass. I was happy. It didn't take much. Because I'm not a person that needs a lot. Like I'm good. I'm very laid back and low key. So it doesn't take a lot for me to be happy. You just be respectful. It's like, okay, I don't need your money. I make my own money. I got my own game. I don't need much, but respect. How do we regain that back in recovery? Sending meta, turning it over. That's where the alchemy comes from. That's turning the metal into gold.
Mm.
right? That's the miracle. And you said something in the last episode. How do we regain that? And what does our lives look like? Spirituality, connectedness. How do I feel? And it's a freedom. I
Mm.
have a freedom in Africa because I turned it over. They said let God. God
Mm.
can. I think I let him.
Mm. What kind of God?
And from my experience, it was like I would go praying and I would take it back. Oh Lord, please, oh Lord, roll around in it and then take it back. Well, I could do it my way. And that doesn't work.
Mm.
I know I could go on a tangent and just talk, 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 but being brutally honest and reflecting on my life conditioning, it's been real, it's just been real here.
Mm.
I'm so grateful to share my recovery with other people out there in the world that are suffering because it is hard work if you let it be hard. It's hard
Mm.
because we keep going back to the bullshit. That's why it's hard. But
Mm.
once we learn to really just let it go and let God, as they say, that's
Mm.
man, it don't get no better than God. It don't get no better than that.
Yeah. I'm curious. Definitely there's levels to honesty, right? Your honesty with ourselves, and even in that surrendering to God, you got to be honest with yourself enough to know that you can't do it alone. And so there was something profound that you said in the last episode that I really think that relates to just that honesty with yourself. When you acknowledge that you wasn't able to deal with it. There are times where we think that we have everything that we need in order to just solve all of our issues, all of our problems, all of our conditioning. But what happens when we get to a place where we don't know where to turn?
Ooh, can I speak?
Come on, please do.
I'm gonna give you an experience now. I'm well endowed in the Jehovah's Witness. I'm going to the meetings in the nutty North, Del Paso. And I still use slang because I lived in the nutty North. And if you lived in the Heights in Sacramento, it's definitely what it is. So, no disrespect, just keeping it real. I called the elder. I'm very close to this man, Brother Kreiner. Very, very, very close to a white man. And he treated me better than my father, right? He was real. I ain't say he never gave me money and nothing like that. He was just respecting. He was always honest. And he knew when something was wrong. He could hear it in my voice. He knew it in my mannerisms. So it's that type of relationship when somebody know you better than you know yourself and they call you out on it.
Mm.
I had been high. I was with my boyfriend and, going through that and trying to get married to stay so I won't get this fellowship. All of these things, right? Because, I got God. And I was so depressed and trying to, like, I was just losing it. I was losing it. And I knew I was. I had owed a bunch of money. Because, man, my people will always front me a sack. Because I'm good for it. I know everybody. Like, here you go. And I got caught up too because I couldn't make the money back, right? And so I called this brother up and he said, Jewel, Jehovah is holy, 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 and you ain't holy. Doom, 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 right? I crushed me. Like, what? I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. And then what he said next, L, are you here? Are you with me? Are you
Um,
with me?
with you, what do you say?
He said, we ain't qualified to deal with your problems. Talk to Jehovah.
Oh, very interesting.
It's interesting because I'm in this church, Jehovah's Witness. I'm gonna say church. I'm gonna keep it for everybody. I was in the church, and the church couldn't give me what I need. I had to find my connection with the Most High.
Come on, talk about it.
So that's what I'm telling you, peep game. I had to find my connection with the Most High. Then people couldn't do nothing for me.
Oof.
It was my soul aching and spilling out, dying because I wasn't connected to the Most High, to the universe, to the ethers.
Hmm.
So we could be in these functions and be functioning, but them people can't do nothing for us because it's an individual relationship with your creator, Mother
Hmm.
Divine, the universe, the infinite, the all. And
Hmm.
all of us make one. So if
Come
you
on.
hurting, I'm hurting. Baby, if you need something, I need something. We have to do it together, but yet it's that one with the infinite source. And when he told me that, I didn't need nothing else because I knew it was up to me and it was my choice and my willpower to turn it over. Let it go. Let God. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Let go, let God. I can't, he can. I think I'll let him.
Wow. Wow. Wow, I really want to talk more about it, but we might as well go ahead and head on into episode 3, really, with that one. Because the next step is hope. And something that you said, a power greater than ourselves. That's going to hit. And I know that we're going to carry that conversation over into the next one. And so, as we reach our last couple minutes in this episode of powerlessness over drugs, this is step one. Just repeating that again. Step one is honesty. We
Mm.
admitted we were powerless over drugs and that our lives became unmanageable.
But let me take it to powerless over relationships, powerless over food, powerless over shopping, powerless that we can't do nothing for our children or our grandchildren, powerless that we can't do nothing for the educational system
Come,
that beat our black boys down, powerless over the mental health institutions, powerless over the jail system, the penal
come on,
system, powerless over, these pregnancies, powerless over these, I want to say, these drugs that they give us from the pharmacies that's telling us going to help us, these
come on,
mental health, meds that is just eating our melanin and our brain away. Powerless over a system that we're born into that we can't do shit about.
come on.
Powerless.
Mm,
Us as a people and a collective, we gotta come together, and that's where it's like teamwork make the dream work.
hmm.
We gotta stand for something or we fall for anything. Great Martin Luther King quote, right? But it's so real. And then our connectedness with the spirit because we are powerless. And when we admit that there's some things that we just can't do nothing about, but to go to the infinite source, it gets easier. It gets
Mm.
easier to look at what you're looking at because you can look at a nightmare and see the beauty.
Come on. I gotta write that down.
I'm about sick of you writing down my quotes, man. I like it. Are you gonna email them back? Because I know you got a book of quotes, a Jewel quotes.
They're in our collective notes, and I'm going to refer back to it in our next episode. But before we go, especially as we talk about, just this powerless in general as people, powerlessness in all the ways in which we might feel, how that's interrelated with our ability to survive, go beyond surviving, and into thriving. Are there
Yeah.
any last words that you want to say with us?
Let's do Life with Miss Jewel, Life podcast. I don't own the rights to this music. For all those who are still suffering, we gonna get it together.